Trespassing. That was the very first word screamed in my face the morning I moved onto the land my grandfather left me. I was standing on my porch, coffee still warm in my hand, when this woman draped in a cardigan like some self-appointed sheriff marched across my fence line and shrieked that I was invading her property. My jaw just dropped. The thing is, the 25 acres I was standing on weren't in her HOA, weren't hers, weren't anyone's but mine. But from that moment, Catherine Stone decided my life was her stage, and she was going to turn it into the wildest HOA drama Florida had ever seen. I'm Kevin Turner, 32, an IT guy who thought moving out to my grandfather's old farm would mean peace. I wanted wide skies, oak trees, a little quiet after years of traffic and neighbors pounding on walls. What I got instead was Catherine, president of the Sunset Valley Homeowners Association, and a living, breathing caricature of control. She came at me holding this laminated genealogy chart, pointing at scribbles she called her ancestral burial ground, and declaring I was desecrating her family's sacred land. I laughed at first, thinking it was some twisted joke, but she wasn't joking. Her eyes were glassy. Her finger wagged in my face, and she told me she'd call the sheriff for trespassing on my own damn porch. The next day she escalated. She set up a folding chair right at the edge of my property line, clutching a Bible, whispering prayers as if she were guarding a crypt. By day 3, she showed up in a full black Victorian morning gown, veil, and all sobbing about her grandmother, who supposedly lay beneath my pasture. She had props too, candles, a fake urn, even a rusty bracelet she pretended to dig out of the soil. I had documents proving otherwise, county maps, my deed records that showed this land had been clean since 1962. No cemeteries, no burials, nothing but dirt and weeds. Still, logic didn't matter. Catherine thrived on spectacle, not facts. At first, I tried to reason with her. I told her politely that my grandfather purchased the land decades before her HOA even existed. She smirked, said, "That's what all violators say," and handed me a printed notice of fine on Sunset Valley letterhead. Not worth the paper it was on, but she plastered copies of it on mailboxes up and down the road, making me out to be a criminal. Soon neighbors started staring at me like I was squatting, like I was the crazy one. I caught whispers. Maybe he's hiding something. Maybe she's right. It ate at me. Each morning I'd wake up to another circus act, Catherine pacing with a megaphone, Catherine waving a so-called metal detector she bought at Walmart, Catherine planting little wooden crosses in my field like she was marking graves. And the worst part, people were watching. They gathered with lawn chairs like it was dinner theater. I could feel their eyes digging into me, stripping away my dignity. One night I sat in the dark kitchen staring at stacks of warning letters she kept mailing. My hands shook. I thought maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I should sell and move back to the city. For a split second I almost believed her madness. But then the first envelope showed up under my windshield wiper. Plain white, no return address inside a single sheet. She did this before. Check County Records Case 2019. My stomach flipped. Over the next week, more envelopes came, detailed notes, time-stamped incidents, even photocopies of counseling reports. Whoever was sending them knew Catherine inside and out. At first I was suspicious, but the information lined up. Turns out she'd staged similar stunts with other neighbors, bullying them until they sold cheap. Suddenly the puzzle snapped into focus. Catherine wasn't just eccentric, she was manipulative, maybe even unhinged. One night my neighbor Tommy, 65, gray hair, always mowing, leaned on his rake and said, "She pulled this crap on the Millers. Cost 'em months in court. Don't roll over, son." That stuck with me. I realized if I gave in, I'd be handing her the script. So I fought back my way by documenting everything. I filmed her setting up fake relics, recorded her rants, saved every bogus notice she shoved in my mailbox. I pulled county land surveys, highlighted the legal boundaries, and kept the anonymous evidence locked in a binder. Catherine must have sensed I wasn't folding, so she cranked the dial to insane. She pitched a giant tent right in front of my gate, painted a banner that read, "Sacred ground, keep out," and blasted hymns through a speaker all night. Local news showed up. Cameras rolled as she wept about her forefathers. Reporters looked at me like I was the villain. I clenched my jaw so tight I thought I'd crack a molar. Enough was enough, so I called the county. Land Management Sheriff's Office, even code enforcement. At first they shrugged HOA disputes, not our problem. But when I showed them the binder, their eyes widened, especially at the counseling reports and emails signed by none other than David Miller, Catherine's ex-husband, barred by a restraining order, but clearly the one feeding me information. He'd lived through her tornado once, and he wasn't about to let her destroy someone else. He was the ghostwriter behind my fight, the silent observer who tipped the scales. The showdown came at a Sunset Valley HOA meeting packed with residents and half the county curious to see blood. Catherine strutted up front, veil on, voice booming, "This man is a trespasser, a desecrator unfit to live among us." I motioned to strip him of rights. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. My hard-hammered palms slick. Then I stood. I laid the binder on the table, opened it wide. Page after page, county deeds, photographs, timestamps, video stills of Catherine violating her own bylaws, parking overnight on the street, erecting unapproved structures, harassment emails. The room fell silent. I flipped to the counseling notes, redacted, but unmistakable, describing her obsession with control, her compulsion to fabricate history. Gasps echoed. Catherine's face drained of color. She sputtered, pointed at me, but words collapsed into incoherent shrieks. For the first time, her act cracked. The HOA board looked at each other, then at her, and one of them finally said, "Catherine, enough." A vote was called. In less than 5 minutes, the woman who'd terrorized me for weeks was stripped of her presidency. Sheriff deputies escorted her out when she refused to leave, still yelling about ancestors and betrayal. Cameras captured everything, the mighty queen of Sunset Valley unraveling in public, her empire of paper notices collapsing with her. And just like that, the circus folded. I didn't cheer. I didn't smile. I just watched her disappear down the hall, binder still heavy in my hands. My land was mine again, my peace restored, but the cost of fighting madness was etched deep in me. And here's the truth I took away. Power only works if you let it. Stand your ground, document everything, and sooner or later tyrants trip over their own lies.